Hello everyone and welcome to Sports Today's Dugout. It is a Tuesday evening and the weather is pretty nice in New Delhi, and I'm joined by two people, Harshit sir and Gulati sir. And for a change, I'm not the test player today. I'm joined by another test player today, Mr. Harshit Ahuja. What's the story behind this t-shirt that you're wearing?
Firstly, I must say this t-shirt, which obviously I've taken from the Sports Today studio, you would have seen this one hanging here or in that corner very often. But the story behind me wearing this, and feels very nice. It's an authentic Indian jersey and
By an Indian player.
worn by an Indian player in the past, and Ishan Sharma, I believe, has worn these stripes in the past. But yeah, the story behind this goes.
Why are you wearing it? Because it's a prop in our studio.
It's supposed to be on the wall, but it's on me today because we had a little game of cricket right in the office premises. We just stepped out for a bit. The weather sort of called for it, amidst many other things that Shashwat believes that the weather has called for. But we stuck to cricket.
No, that is not true at all, because that is you who started that. I have proof of that as well.
I don't know. But anyway, so the weather called for us to step out of office for a while, and we just had a game of cricket. And I think I was over.
Did you win?
I was overexcited about it, so I was running around quite a bit, and I had to get a change after that.
Did you win? No, they didn't.
I couldn't unfortunately win. Of course,
Within the opponent teams.
I was only a test player in disguise, because the real test player
Was in the other team.
was in the other team and ended up winning both the matches. That
Both the
Privilege for me, to be joined by two.
I'm a
Test
pseudo
cricketers here.
pseudo test cricketer, as I said. But speaking of test cricket, good that we've started talking about test cricket on today's Dugout, because that's what we're here for today. And test cricket just is gathering a lot of attention right now, not because of what just happened a couple of days back in London, where I'd like to believe that result was good for just the health of test cricket, with South Africa winning against a team that has hurt them so much in the past. There's a news piece, I believe, that came early in the morning. It has to do with the approval, I think, of the higher ups of the ICC. One of you, if you could just take us through what that development is before we really get to the meat of it, which is about, is this how test cricket is going to be in the future?
Yeah, so I've done an exhaustive video on it. You can check it out for more details. But in summary, the point is that ICC is mulling to have more number of 4-day test matches starting from the WTC cycle of 2027. That's going to last until 2029, and obviously, from there on too. The idea is to make sure that there are more number of 4-day test matches for the smaller nations. And by smaller nations, what I mean here is someone like South Africa, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, because primarily if you see the previous 3 WTC cycles and even the 4th one now that's currently underway with the test between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, most of these teams are playing 2-game test series, whether it's against any of the big 3 or even against themselves. Most of the test series just feature a couple of test matches, and now, so as to make sure that there are more number of test matches, they can accommodate a 3-match series or a 4-match series from the WTC cycle of 2027. The idea is to make sure that you can have 4-day test matches. A total of 98 overs would be bowled in the day. It's going to be an extended time there, so as to make sure that there are more number of overs. But then there's one striking point here, that the big 3, India, England, Australia, they have been exempted from this particular situation. Like, it's a report here that they will still continue to play the 5 test matches, that they play among themselves. It's the Border Gavaskar Trophy, Tendulkar Anderson Trophy, Ashes. So that's really going to be there. But the WTC cycle starting from 2027 is more than likely to have 4-day test matches, and that's going to be the case with top 3 be exempted.
Interesting. So, but this is still in the works, I believe. It's a report that you
just
got
a report,
hold of, and there isn't a rubber stamp to it yet, right? So it's not formalized.
No.
So you expect there to be multiple rounds of discussion, but at least the draft seems to be in place, and this could be a reality going forward. But you know what this development does is, I think it gives us a little insight into what the ICC's thinking as far as the future of this format is concerned. multiple questions that come to my mind as you outlined the broader contours of this story. The fact that and the first and we can dwell on all these questions one by one. The first is this does this have to do with how South Africa went ahead and won the WTC? I just want to understand the genesis now, because there was a lot being said about the way South Africa qualified for the WTC final. I remember on day one as well, given the performance that we saw from them with the bat, everyone was saying, in fact the whole first innings after it ended, everyone was saying, okay, if this is a team that has played only 2-match series and didn't even play the big three, so to say, in this particular WTC cycle, then how is it that you expect them to go ahead and win a WTC final? You expect them to be playing the way that they did, and they looked ordinary in that first innings with the bat. So is the genesis the way that the qualification to the WTC final happened? Could that be the thing?
I think 110%. I think that's the reason. I'll just try to make it even more simpler over here. I think the concept behind having 4-day test matches is so that you have more space and you can squeeze in another test match or two. In that sense, you can go for, instead of 2 test matches, you in a way by 4-day test matches, you can go for 3 test matches instead of 2. So what happens in this scenario is that we saw India play 10 test matches in a row, and South Africa just played 2 test matches and sort of made it to the WTC final. So basically the point system, how it is, correct me if I'm wrong, basically it does not matter how many test matches you're playing. By the end of it, the series, the percentage of points that you're getting is similar. If you're playing 5 test matches in that series, if you're playing 7, or if you're playing 2, at the end of that, the weightage of the series is equivalent to however, if you're playing 2 or you're playing 5. So in that sense, with South Africa, they got that advantage. As soon as you're playing a higher number of test matches, your chances to lose is even higher. Automatically, very naturally so, and that is where teams like South Africa this time got an advantage, and why I think a lot more will be talked about this time, because South Africa is the same team who at the beginning of this cycle very openly said this fact that we are okay to let go of 2 WTC points. It does not matter to us until and unless our players are available for SA20 New Zealand for those New Zealand series, and now they ended up playing the final and going on and winning that. I'm not taking anything away from the South African team, they totally deserved it, but in a way it is unfair to the teams that prioritize test cricket a lot more, like India. They play regularly 5-match test series, Australia regularly 5-match test series, England regularly. So in that sense they have a disadvantage. So and why the smaller countries do not want to play too many test matches, because they are getting most of the revenue from T20 cricket, ODI cricket, T20 leagues, so they do not want to squeeze in more test matches. As soon as you cut down the test matches for one day, you automatically can somehow squeeze in another test match, and that just makes the scenario a lot better. So I think it's a very clear picture in that sense. You're just reducing 1 test match and clearly barring the other teams from playing 4 test matches, and barring the 3 big countries, they can play 5-day test matches, because they anyways are playing 5 test matches, 3 test matches series. So in that sense, it just becomes a level playing field, and I think it's a very good way to actually get rid of this whole situation.
I think it's not just South Africa's run to the final here and eventually becoming the champions. I don't think that's the only trigger. I think the trigger is also what happened with the New Zealand team, when they reached the final of the inaugural WTC, and they also went on to win there. You look at the number of test matches New Zealand played and the number of test matches now South Africa played in this, pretty much the similar. I think just going to be a difference of about 2 or 3 at max. Even that can also make a difference, but not a large difference there. But I think it's also got to do with the fact, and it's also something that's been mentioned in the report too, that you want to make sure that these smaller nations like South Africa, Sri Lanka, they are also able to manage their cost and all these things pretty effectively. For them to organize a 3-game or a 4-game series, it is indeed a tall order, as far as the financial thing is concerned. So if you, let's say, if you have to organize a series with India and it's a 4-game series, you would require about 1.5 months so as to make sure that things can be taken care of by the relevant stakeholders as far as the financial part is concerned. But now in case of 4-day test matches, assuming you're having a 3-match test series, you can still, complete it within a week. Let's say, for example, Bangladesh are touring Sri Lanka. So for that matter, you would not really require more than 3 weeks there. And also in those 5-day test matches, assuming it's a bigger series, you still have a good gap between test matches. Let's say, when India are going to face England here, after the first test match, there's a good 7 to 8 day break, before the second test match. And so it's going to be the case before the 4th test match of the series begins. So one thing is obviously the cost. Secondly, I don't know, if it's really going to be a level playing field. Imagine, the big three, or, quote unquote big three, they continue to play those 15, 20 odd matches. England have been the only team who have been pretty consistent while playing, 20 plus test matches in the WTC, is concerned. So I think England in that, it's not working. Okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah, so in case of that, I think, I don't know whether it's really a level playing field, because let's say in the 2027 WTC cycle, you have a team, let's say India, they win about 15 odd matches of the 20 they play and they reach the final. Then there is maybe Sri Lanka, who have played maximum, 4-day matches, and they are the ones, who qualify for the final. I don't know, how do you decide this thing, the two finalists in this case? One is a team that consistently played 5-day test matches and reached the final. Then there is a team like Sri Lanka who consistently played 4-day test matches. Now they are in the final. This is even confusing.
No, but Gulati sir, but they're still playing a higher number of test matches. Otherwise, they're just playing two test matches. In that sense, then the whole already it's very flawed, because South Africa I think they just won 7 on the trot at the end and qualified. Whereas India on the other end played 10 test matches on the trot. They continue to play 10 test matches. So in that sense, obviously the chances of India losing are much more than South Africa, because they're playing more test matches. So in that sense, the whole method is only flawed. But by this, at least what you're ensuring is that these countries start to play more number of test matches, so that it's a level playing field.
Is it really necessary? That's the point.
Otherwise they'll be two test matches and qualify like South Africa did.
If you ask me, it's a catch-22. I want to get back to the phrase that was used, level playing field, in just a bit. But I think the ICC finds itself in a catch-22 situation, because the financial implications are wide-ranging. There are just a couple of boards out there that can really take care of themselves and their domestic cricket, but otherwise, as we've seen in Sri Lankan cricket as well, that ticket prices even for domestic matches or international matches, even more for that matter, have skyrocketed, and they're just failing at the moment and grappling with tense situations when it comes to the financial aspect. So from a financial standpoint, I understand maybe this is a way of keeping the ship afloat. However, from just the game standpoint, I don't think this makes for a good league system, for that matter. You can't have in the same league teams that, let's say the Premier League, for that matter, the smaller clubs cannot be given the advantage, because you want them to win and you want them to do better.
Okay, I'll interrupt you for a second.
That's already happening now.
This is where I have a question for both of you.
Isn't that already happening?
No,
that's already happening, because it's already flawed. India can easily play just two test matches and qualify. It will be easier. That's already happening.
Something that we've seen anyway.
You're trying to
for both of you.
Undo that.
Just tell me one thing. In Premier League, does it happen that the lesser ranked teams, do they get to play matches which last 45 minutes?
Nothing, as I was
That's
telling
the point.
you.
My only
As I was
point.
telling you.
But this system though is comparing it with.
If you have to have a level playing field, now in this scenario only, where there are certain teams that are playing 4-day test matches, and there are other teams, 3 of them, India, Australia, England, that are playing 5 match. In the final, if there's a Sri Lanka, for example, that plays 4 test matches all through 2 years, now will the final be a 4-day test match or a 5-day test match? What do you do then?
It will be a 5-day test match, but my only point over here is that to compare it with other leagues is not right, because the way teams are reaching final, it's already flawed, because most of the teams aren't playing each other. Some teams are playing 3 games.
It'll be very interesting for us to see, and I remember reading this, I think at some point last year, that there aren't too many matches going the full distance. That has been a bit of a problem, and maybe that has to do with the introduction of T20 cricket over the last 1 decade, and young cricketers playing more of T20 cricket. Standards have dropped in test cricket that ways that you don't have the kind of quality that last the entire stretch. My point being, how does then the younger generation take to the game? How do you explain a young fan and how, you know, those stories and we've perceived cricket a certain way of, let's say, a Lord's wicket. We know that, you know, day 3 best day for batting. First couple of days windy conditions, whatever, overcloud if it is, you need to be careful. Day 4, day 5, you know, surface changes, the spinners come into play. Now all of that changes. Now match is getting done at just the 4th day mark. Now the way that we've consumed cricket completely changes, and I don't think it's a good endorsement for the game going forward.
No, my only point over here, I think I'm just losing the plot a little bit over here. My point only over here is it's clearly written a move to 4-day tests would enable a 3-game series in 3 weeks. Right? So the whole concept behind doing 4-day test matches for lower tier teams is so that they can go out and play more number of test matches.
Correct.
As soon as they play more number of test matches, it starts to get a level playing field. Because as of now, what
it
is
evens out because they're playing more matches.
Because
but Shashwat, the problem with that becomes the problem
stays. I'm not saying that the problem gets sorted out, but the situation gets better because this time South Africa.
If the problem stays, then how does the situation get better?
Because the problem already is there. It's already a flawed way. The way teams are reaching the final, it's already flawed. If I am a team and I want to play the final every year, I'll decide to play the minimum number of test matches. I'll automatically have the higher percentage and I'll play the final. That's what is happening. I'm not saying teams are doing it deliberately. They're doing it because they want to focus more on white ball cricket because that generates more revenue. But what you'll do as soon as you're going towards a 4-day game, you're automatically increasing a test match in that sense. And because of that, everything is getting much more leveled as compared to right now. I think that it's just as simple as it can get in that sense.
I think it's taking, while I agree with you partially that it's a step in some manner in the right direction, but it's almost like you're taking 1 step forward, 2 back, because holistically I wonder if I don't see this lasting for a long time, because if there is a scenario, if in 2029 WTC final that you have 2 teams who made it to the final basis playing 4-day test matches, I wonder if the big 3 are going to be okay with that. And for how many cycles do you think the big 3 are going to be okay?
Why aren't they are okay with the fact that South Africa has played so less test matches and because of that they've qualified?
There was so much, and I'm telling you, because at the heart of it is not just cricket, is also the economics of it. And do you really think test cricket can burgeon going forward if the big 3 don't make it? All this time, all the 3 editions you've seen, one of the big 3 be there in the WTC
Harshit, there is nothing to suggest that 4-day test matches will let the other teams qualify. They are playing more. The chances of them to qualify is getting lesser, not more. It's getting lesser automatically. As soon as they are playing just 2 test match series, the chances of qualifying is getting higher. They are just reducing those chances in that sense.
But it can't be again. See, I get your point. You're increasing, so the denominator is increasing, right? I get that logic. You increase the denominator, your percentage chances reduce. However, it cannot be that as part of the same league, just because you've traditionally done well, that you play a different format and the other teams play a different format. Then you need to come up with different ways to revive the game.
Prioritizing it also, The big 3 are prioritizing discretion.
Then it is for the ICC and the concerned stakeholders to put their heads together and come out with the way. I know the West Indies has struggled, Sri Lanka, as we talked, has struggled, South Africa in many ways were also on that road, and it's a bit of a miracle how they reached, especially after the start that they had in that away series against New Zealand. But as far as level playing field is concerned, I don't think it flattens things out or it makes things level in any way. It can't be.
Just tell me one thing, that is it more
because even
fair?
Sarshwat, by the way, even if you're drawing, you get points even for a draw. And then in that case, percentage chances, you can't say that of a result then only increase or of a win or a loss then increase. And for all you know, we've actually had a WTC cycle in which on the last day, last ball, we've had a series result come out, and that paved the way for India to make it to the final in 2021 because of that result in Napier. Now, and that happened across 5 days, and you know how things can change with every result. Now, if I'm accumulating in a tough series because the duration of the match has been shortened, if there are more matches that get drawn as a result, then what is it to suggest that there isn't an advantage for those teams?
But that's not. That is also not. It's not even like
that
that.
Was the
for
case,
teams, the test matches are going till 5 days.
Australia, Sydney would have been a draw then.
No. But India, Australia aren't going to play 4-day test matches, right?
That's
They're going to play 5.
So
I'm saying which is more fairer, the way South Africa made it, or would it have been fairer if they would have played 3 proper test series and then made it? It would have been fairer if they would have played full length test series and then made it.
What you need to do is, because
then you should need to change the whole system.
Every team to make things even, you need to have every team play the same number of. You can't have the same number of matches, but you for the difficulty level, the difficulty level to be the same. Then you need to have the same number of away series or same number of series with the same number of matches at least. So because if in India and Australia and England are always going to have 2 series, India in this cycle are going to have 2 big away series. Right, one at home, one away. You're playing England away, and you'll be hosting Australia in this test, in this WTC cycle. So you're playing a difficult and a higher ranked team across 10 matches. It can't be that an Australia or that a South Africa then not play these longer series.
But we are looking
against a tougher opponent.
What we are looking at is that they are playing 1 day less. But what I am looking at is that they are playing more test matches. And I personally, in today's day and age, don't see that too many test matches actually go till the 5 days, until and unless it's rain curtailed or anything of that sort happens. We've seen it more often than not. So I'm looking at, I still feel that it's a welcome move in that sense because of this. Because
the WTC anyway
will you be
has
okay if Sri Lanka starts playing just 6 test matches a year, they win 3 or 4 out of those, they'll have the most highest percentage and they'll be playing the final then by the current system. But that's not right? That's why they want that such teams should be playing more number of test matches. I'm just looking at it as just this simply. I think it's given us another problem. I don't look at this being a full-fledged solution per se, because it has its own limitations. And it's not a full-fledged solution. The full-fledged solution is that you have a proper league system, teams play each other, and then the group system, and then they go to the final. Ideally, that should be the case. Ideally, but that's not how it works.
I don't know how ICC wants to do this.
No, I think the point here is that you want some kind of more competition for the big 3, because let's just face it, in the last 2 or 3 WTC cycles, New Zealand, they still have been pretty inconsistent. India, you talk about, I think India, Australia have been the most consistent teams in the last 3, in the opening 3 editions of the WTC here. India, despite not qualifying for the finals, they still finished 3rd this time around. I think you want more competition, and that's why you're saying, okay, let's just have more 3-match series here for the lower smaller nations here. Let's just see how they perform, and if they continue to get better, they can probably challenge the likes of India, Australia, England in maybe the next 6 to 7 years or so. That's the kind of thing you're seeing. But whether that's going to happen or not, I'm not really sure about it, because the nations themselves, they have to prioritize test cricket, because most of these teams, they are willing to let go of their players who can participate in the T20 leagues or can become, T20 mercenaries.
But that is because they want to earn that money, right?
That is absolutely fine, because, let's say, for example, a Rashid Khan, he, let's say, earns 10 crore from IPL. So 5 or 10% of it goes to the Afghanistan Cricket Board also. These things, usually happen with the overseas players. But the point is that you are also trying to save test cricket. Is it really the move? I'm not really sure about it. I think there has to be some kind of qualification criteria, because if at the end of the day, you have to play the WTC final on a 5-day, it's going to be a 5-day test, then why do you really want to have a 4-day test matches consistently for the lower
I'm still not trying to understand what's the fuss about over here. Is the fuss about
it's not a level playing field?
Or it is getting leveler now. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Is this a level?
This is just a first step to
is this a level playing? You yourself tell me, is the current thing a level playing field, or the one that they are suggesting that's going to be a level playing field? That's going to be the level playing field, because at least they'll start.
I feel this is not even close to being a level playing field.
But which is more, the current one or the one that now it's been reported?
Maybe this one. Maybe.
How?
Maybe the 4-day thing one.
Yeah, then that's the whole point of it, right? That's the whole point of it. That is why I'm saying that it's a welcome move. I'm not saying it's going to get completely okay in that sense, but it's at least a welcome move because it's much more fair in that sense. Right now, though, they are playing 2 test matches. They're not sending their team, and because they're playing so less, they're making it to the final. That's not right, right?
Okay. But I think it's still, somehow it does not feel that convincing that, you would still be on level playing field. You have a 5-day test match, a total of 450 overs. In case of a 4-day test match, you are going to have 360 plus 32, 392 overs, in that particular game. There have been cases, and this is something that I was discussing with Harshit also before, we had the dugout, that there have been several occasions, or maybe if not more, but at least there have been a few occasions in which a test match has been decided in the last over, on the last ball. You talked about that New Zealand
How
versus
many
Sri Lanka.
occasions like this in the past 10 years?
I know there have been very rare occasions for that matter. But the point is there have been these occasions.
Then there would have been more occasions where 5 days has happened and the game has ended in a draw.
Yeah,
absolutely. So then it's not sorting the purpose in that sense.
Even this is also not sorting the purpose.
It's not sorting the purpose, but at least it's better.
Yeah, you needed a 5th day at Lord's Light for the 60 overs to happen and you to win on day 5. Now, these situations
we continue to play 5 days.
But we will, I'm saying, it's not like only when India are playing England can these 60 over scenarios pop up. These 60 over scenarios can pop up in every test match for that matter. Now, what you've already done is, with the WTC, you have forced teams to make decisions that are more result oriented. That declaration in the previous Australia-England Ashes series is something that we all remember very well. And there have been countless times, in fact, where teams have now been pushing for a result. Now, that's...
But Harshit, is that because of the WTC cycle? I'm saying if you I'm saying you went into the border. I'm saying if you go into the England tour, you know that you need to win just one game, a hypothetical situation, to make it to the WTC final. I think still more importance will be given to the whole series. I'm talking about the big 3. I don't think it's about the WTC that much. It's more about the series, what's at stake. During the BGT, how many times would have we talked about the chances of India not making it to the WTC final? A couple of times, but our main focus was that the Indian team will lose the series. It's about the series because the legacy behind that is so much. The top 3 teams will continue to play 5-day test matches, but with this, because you know what will happen after a couple of years. Teams like South Africa, I remember Sri Lanka also had an outside chance this time to make it to the final. Teams like this will start to such teams will start to qualify for the final, and then people will start losing interest in the whole WTC thing, because then it will be so unfair that they are playing 5 test matches a year, they are playing 20 and they are not able to qualify. Even though they would have won more test matches than Sri Lanka, but still they won't make the cut because the percentage system is such.
Again, it's the whole essence and the soul of Test cricket is 5-day matches, and I don't see it being the same if there are some teams playing 5-day matches and there are some who play 4 days.
That is true. That I agree.
So it
absolutely
again and
does
as
not make any sense
as
at
a
all.
product, then I wonder how this becomes sellable to the future generations and how it becomes marketable as well.
How do you sell this to a Gen Z? That's the point.
How do you explain this to somebody that, when India are playing England, okay, it'll be a 5-match series, it'll last 5 days. But okay, when you're playing a lower ranked team,
why is this, happening?
How do you explain? Let's
I think
say
that's
on
a
the points
big
table,
problem.
there is an India that's at number 3, locked in 3rd position. Then there's a South Africa locked at 4th. After supposedly South Africa played 3 home test series back to back, and they have just about the same points as India. So let's say they're both in joint 3rd. How do you explain this to somebody? No, because India are going there, this test match is going to last only for 4 days.
But once in a blue moon do we see teams going till the 5th day. Very less. We see it with big nations, we still see it with India, we saw it with England, we see it, but with countries like South Africa and all these teams, it does not last for so many days. You're traveling to South Africa, you've seen test matches get over in 1.5 days.
You know where I'll agree with this? I'll probably agree with this. Associate nations, if you want them to get a hang of test cricket, maybe this is the way to introduce. But you don't tinker with an existing format, and it can't be that you're participating in the same league, fighting for the same prize, but one plays 4-day matches, the other plays 5-day matches. And then I think it could be detrimental for teams playing 4-day test matches to eventually go ahead and reach the final, and they need to then come up with a new strategy. 2 years I've played 4-day matches, and now suddenly I need to come up with a new way, because lasting 5 days lasting one full more day of test cricket vis-a-vis a 4-day test match is Jasprit Bumrah's back gave up on the last day. Right, these are the finer margins
But
that we're
again,
talking
we're giving
about.
all these examples from the big three teams. I am talking about
These injuries can happen to anyone.
No, but Harshit sir, these big three teams also on very rare occasions are playing till the 5th day. We remember here and there, we can count it on our fingers. That's the whole point. That is why I know that it's a disadvantage to the legacy of the game, but at least I'm looking at the fact that it's at least getting a level playing field for the WTC as a whole.
That's the
At
first
least-
step. That's what he means.
Yeah, eventually you need to make a lot of changes in the whole system. But as of now, I'm looking at it as a welcome move.
At least one sign of progression. That's the point. Okay.
Because there's again South Africa. See how I'm just tell me one thing. Just for the face of the game, for cricket in general across the world, if somebody comes to know, I'm saying you're a very big football fan, right? You know how much playing a final, how much winning the trophy means to any team. If it does not look good on the game that a team that a couple of years back said that we don't really care about this trophy goes on, plays the final and wins that.
But Sasha, it's not like, so let's say Portugal, Morocco for that matter, very very different on the, or separated by a lot of teams on the FIFA rankings. But what did Morocco do in that quarter final of the FIFA World Cup? They went ahead and beat them in 90 minutes, right? They didn't even need extra time.
Yeah.
My whole point being, when there's a competition, you don't change rules looking at the opponent. If you're playing a certain sport, it has to be played the way that it's played. I just have an inherent problem with this whole thought that there are teams playing different formats as part of the same bigger system. This is the problem for me.
True. Okay, let's take a few comments here. Freaking Awesome is saying, still the contest is not equal in WTC. I think what he means by is that how South Africa probably won the WTC, how New Zealand also won by playing lesser number of matches here. Another comment by Freaking Awesome that rather than playing a test series, better each team plays against 8 other teams, but continuous scheduling is not possible. They can split the schedule and play in different time of the year. This is not ODI cricket, for that matter. Even T20s in all the white ball formats, it's still possible. How do you do it in test cricket? There's going to be a lot on the plate of different boards. There is cost, scheduling. How do you squeeze out the time? There are multiple T20 leagues. Even each country, they have their own T20 leagues. IPL, SLPL, SA20. For SA20, even South African test players, they missed the series against New Zealand and they had to send in a C-string team. I don't know how this is really possible, for that matter. Nationally saying, could ICC make the WTC a group stage, like divide all the WTC eligible teams into 2 groups where every team plays against each other in a cycle? Would that make more interesting?
Ideally, that's how it should be.
But
Like
how do you
Premier League,
scale
every
down
weekend you play one test match.
Like you have a World Cup format where there's round robin, you're playing every team. See, you can't have 5-day matches for sure in that case. You 5-day test series, 5-match test series, beg your pardon, in that case, because it's just going to be an unending thing and it can't happen in 2 years. Then you need a bigger window for it to be, and I doubt the format with its struggles, especially economic struggles, can afford something like that. I would love it personally, but I think the economics of it is very limiting in nature for test cricket.
Yeah. Uday Aditya has a comment, test match should always be of, I think what he means here is 3 days, not 3 hours. 4 days is a waste of time. Nowadays players are not skilled for even whole 1 day. Yeah, obviously batters, their techniques are getting affected due to more T20 cricket. Bowlers are not that skilled enough to bowl those longer spells consistently. Maybe the last of the breed are probably Bumrah, Rabada and all these players.
I don't get this logic. Now, just because players aren't able to match or live up to the standards that are pre-existing, you haven't scrapped the free kick rule in football, right? Because there aren't players as good as a Messi and the Beckhams and the Ronaldos of the world who have a good conversion rate when it comes to free kicks. So you have the sport requires the players to up their game. You can't try and come up with these rules and try and make things easy. There's only so many things that can be served on the platter. Yeah,
exactly. Shivam, go down. Let's see if we have any other comments. Chili Paneer is saying that test format should be made into one-day format of 50 overs or 60 overs a day. By that logic, then you are maybe trying to make things more interesting by reducing the number of overs, but then would it really still solve the problem? Whether it's a 5-day or a 4-day, is it going to be a level playing field or not? I think many questions are needed to be answered for this. Dr. Strange has a comment, last couple of comments here. 4 days won't change much as far as the viewership goes. Will reduce the resources and time for conducting. I think we lost it. Dr. Strange's comment we had. Okay, we'll get to it. Yeah, for conducting matches and give more time for other formats. I don't know if reducing the overs, would have any sense.
I don't see how that solves the problem.
Yeah. Priyanka has a comment that how many matches are going till 5th day? Mostly all matches are going to complete under the 4th day itself. That's one of the points that even Shashwat mentioned. Chili Paneer is saying, and semi-final and final can be proper 90 overs. I think just like it happens in Ranji. Initially you have 4-day test matches, but as you move to the business end, you have proper 5-day test matches. I think that's pretty much about it. Okay, last comment here. No one is saying how many home series in India test matches with full crowd in last year. Name one ground practically. No one interested in watching tests with 38 degrees with humidity in Indian grounds.
It's a fair point. And the infrastructure in India, if you ask me, is not conducive to the cricket loyalists in India. The fans, I believe, deserve much more. So there are a lot of problems. I agree. There are a lot of problems out there.
Yeah. I think that's about it. Or any more
Arvind
comments?
is asking Shashwat if you watched that Red Bull thing today.
Yeah, I did.
You have?
Yeah,
it's a 17-minute long video.
It's very nice. I really liked it. It's like the KC's castle in cricket version. You've seen it?
I
You
haven't.
did? It's very nice. You should.
I haven't. I've just seen snippets of it and
No, I've seen the whole thing. I saw the whole thing. It's really,
I think
it's really nicely
just tell
done.
everyone about it.
It's
People
basically
are saying it's Takeshi's castle.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. It's KC's castle in cricket. Basically, it's just that. So, Ben. So basically, it's like both of them have different challenges, and they have to complete those challenges and reach to the boss challenge. Boss challenge, in which they have to do it combined. Then the boss challenge is to be done combined, but both of them have to reach. They're on their separate paths. So like KL Rahul has one that the truck is moving, he's standing up there.
Yeah, that one.
And it's a 400 and something meter track where he needs to hit sixes, and however long a six that he hits, like the first shot hits 80 meters, that much the truck will move. So he has to reach 400 and something meters by the end of it. So that's the first level. And then the second level is that it's a pitch and the ball can come from anywhere. Yeah. And they have a cue card where it's written when. So when means that when will the ball come out. Then Ben Stokes has how. That how and from where will it come. So it's very interesting. It's very hard to explain like this, but it's very interesting. Also, I watched the whole thing.
And there was another, I think, snippet that I saw of it in which there were areas that were demarcated or targets.
That's the fine. That's the boss level.
And they had to hit the ball exactly on that spot.
Those what is that called? That thing where you have to aim.
In Hindi, na?
Where you have to aim.
Dartboard.
No. That big dartboard. A bigger dartboard basically. So that's why they have to aim and hit, and that's like that keeps the first stage is when it's coming on an auto. Then the second stage is it's coming on the ground. And then the final stage is it comes out of a drone, and then they have to hit from between that hole. So it's very red ball.
Would the test cricket and you qualify in this test?
No, I can definitely not.
No?
Not a chance.
Today you were impressive, yeah?
No, still can't.
You took a hat-trick, right?
No, still can't.
Or was it a team hat-trick?
It was a team hat-trick, but I still can't cross that.
Okay. Arvind Atreyas has a comment. Who is your highest run scorer from India? Is this KL Rahul? I would go with Rishabh Pant.
My highest run getter for this series. I'm going KL Rahul as well.
Shashwat?
Rishabh Pant, 110%.
Okay. I said Rishabh Pant. Yeah.
Rishabh.
Oh,
Shivam's gone with
Shivam
Captain Gill.
saying Shubman Gill.
That'll be delightful. Okay, last comment before we say goodbye to you. Now, what's with that, Shashwat?
What's it?
Arvind has another question. His follow-up question is, have you seen the Sting ad?
No, I haven't.
It's this energy drink, I believe. Right?
Yeah, that I know,
Not
but
so
I haven't
healthy
seen
though.
the ad. I haven't seen the ad.
Okay.
Aditya Kavlekar
I'll watch
has
it and you
gone
can.
with,
I can give an update on that by tomorrow. Don't
Jaiswal.
worry.
Okay, we'll take Naman Kanpal's comment as well. He says his opinion is that make plate level teams play 4-day matches and bigger teams to focus on day-night ping ball test matches.
Kind of like this.
It's an interesting
Yeah.
one.
Like the Ranji Trophy, it's just that they don't play 4-day.
yeah.
No, they don't play only
See,
4-day
in
matches.
day-night matches also you're trying to make things difficult for both the teams here. Na? They are still not very accustomed. You do not really play day-night cricket very consistently. So yeah, that could be a factor.
Of course. Sayyid Nizamuddin has gone with Karun Nair.
You've seen his interview with Ashwin?
Wonderful will it be if Karun Nair goes.
Ashwin's interview, Ashwin is
A couple of stories on that, na?
Yeah. No, that was, he's giving a lot of interviews. That, the story I did, that's from a different interview. He told that when I was dropped, nothing was communicated to me. And at that time, you know, who was the
cricketer,
manager?
Have you been able to figure out?
No, I haven't been.
You got my question?
Yeah, I did.
Huh?
When will Nikhil sir come?
Nikhil sir will come very soon. You will see him in the studio. So come every evening, find out. This very week, it could be 24 hours, 48 hours. He'll be here with us.
Before the test match, that much we can tell.
Yeah. Assured.
It will be, everybody will be back by the time.
Everyone will be back.
Yeah.
And somebody will be gone also. Just take a guess as to who you think is the next one to go on leave now.
I've seen everybody go one by one already.
Anyway, this was good, guys. Thank you so much for giving us your company as always here on the Sports Today Dugout. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Until then, take very good care from all of us here in the Sports Today studio. Bye-bye. Take care. Good night. Nandri. Shubhratri. Shabba khair. Subscribe. Shivam tells me he's not going to end this stream if I don't urge you guys to subscribe. He's got access to all those of you who haven't subscribed to us yet. So please, at the mercy of Shivam Giri, be watchful. He can be a very nasty guy at times. So yeah, please subscribe and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Yeah, and don't go anywhere. An important update from the India's England tour. It's coming your way very shortly. I don't know about that. I'll give you that.